The Labour Party's resident foul-mouthed fishwife is one of the biggest hypocrites in Parliament, and the scandal about her council houses and tax returns could see her kicked out of Labour and Parliament, and I wouldn't be sad to see her go. I'm Paz49. Right then, Angela Rayner, what's all this fuss about? First off, I don't like Angela Rayner. I don't like her mannerisms, the way she talks. She is like a foul-mouthed fishwife. And I think she is way above her station, being an MP. And MPs are generally scumbags anyway, so that says a lot about her. And she is a massive, huge hypocrite when it comes to the affairs of other politicians. Now, when this Partygate nonsense was at its height, involving then Prime Minister Boris Johnson, she was there at the forefront telling him to resign. And all the guy did was being presented with a slice of cake at his place of work, and that's it, he ate it. But at the same time, Angela Rayner and Keir Starmer, leader of the Labour Party, they met up with people who came from elsewhere altogether and had beer and pizza, and nothing was done about that. Now, if anything flaunted the lockdown rules, it was that. But that's now by the by, it's in the past. And she's embroiled in yet another scandal, a scandal which could see her political career end, hopefully. I mean, we don't need people like that in Parliament. We deserve a better pedigree of person to represent us in Parliament, not something like Angela Rayner, who are just chavvy and can be quite insightful themselves. Remember the time when she said openly in Parliament, Tory scum, and then shortly afterwards that Tory MP was murdered, wasn't he? Now, I'm not saying it was because of that, but there are some highly unstable and impressionable people out there who could take that as a sign. So MPs really do have to be careful with their language, and Angela Rayner isn't one of them. So what's Angela Rayner meant to have done? Well, it involves a council house which she bought and capital gains tax. And Greater Manchester Police have announced that they are formally investigating her now. And rightly so. And it's a shame, really, that they've had to be pushed into doing this when there is suspicion of wrongdoing. After all, Angela Rayner is constantly on about other party MPs having to step down for anything similar, yet here we are and she's still in her post. So Angela Rayner bought a council house in Stockport in January 2007 for around £80,000. She was registered on the electoral roll there, and from 2007 until 2015 she was not registered to vote elsewhere and didn't rent out the property, and has insisted that this house was her principal property. Now, Angela Rayner's then, was it her husband or partner? He already owned a home nearby, and they decided to keep their separate properties. She then apparently re-registered the births of the 2 kids she had with this guy to her husband's house in 2010. Now, it's unclear which address was on their birth certificates previously. And so in March 2015, Angela Rayner sold her home for around £130,000, making a profit of between £45,000 and £50,000. And at this point, she was registered at this address on the electoral roll until her husband sold his house in 2016. Now, as a result of these reports, Angela Rayner is now facing questions about where she lived for the first 5 years of her marriage. Because under electoral rules, people are expected to register at their permanent address and could face heavy fines for providing false info. Now, this is where it gets interesting, and it involves tax. Even though the amount of tax that she could possibly owe is only around £1,000 or so, she has completely refused to publicly release her personal tax advice. She is happy to talk to the police, but she won't make it public. So here we have Angela Rayner, who was completely against Margaret Thatcher's idea and policy of allowing council tenants to buy their council properties, and yet she did it herself. She said it was her second property and she didn't live there, but neighbours say she did. There are photos online of her living at this address, and she's been completely caught out. This is yet another example of a rampant, rabid socialist hypocrisy of enjoying a perk that she wants to deny everyone else. She was very outspoken about the buying council house policy by Margaret Thatcher, and yet she did it herself. Then again, it's okay when the lefties do it, isn't it? Now, her boss, Keir Starmer, leader of the Labour Party, has said publicly that he backs her. And the Labour spokesman said, or spokesperson, do apologise, said that Angela welcomes the chance to set out the facts with the police. We remain completely confident that Angela has complied with rules at all times and it's now appropriate to let the police do its work. Now, despite openly backing her, Keir Starmer hasn't seen her tax form and apparently is refusing to do so because if he looks at it and he sees that something's wrong and he has openly backed her, then he's buggered, isn't he? But by doing it this way, refusing to look at the tax returns, and as they said, let the police do their work, then should they find that she has lied and is part of a tax scam, then he can just let her go and his hands are completely clean. See, this is how politics works, folks. It's all cloak and dagger, using and abusing people, knowing who to back and knowing who and when to throw them under the bus. And I think this is another prime example of that. And there we go. That's what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm Past49. Until the next time, Roger Trout.